Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning into my video today. I am SirKaye. My YouTube channel is known as Mr. SirKaye, but you can pretty much find me on any other social media outlet as just SirKaye. And this video today is the start of my YouTube grind, coming back after a 2-year break. It's going to be a 2-part video series on one of the daily dungeon missions for the Division. Now, this video specifically I'm doing with a group of close friends of mine who I've been gaming with for many years. You'll be able to see a few different strategies to tackle this mission and kind of what you can do to take down the mobs in different groups. Right now we are slowly pushing back this group of elites into the tunnel. Specifically, the gun I use is the classic FAL. It's a purple weapon that I got from the advanced weapons vendor in the post office, your base of operations. The FAL does, this specific one I got does about 10k damage and had extremely high DPS on just his base stats. And with that, you know, that's what you want to look for in these guns. You want to look for the high damage output, rounds per minute, and hopefully you get a good mag size too with these ARs. DPS also. It's not traditional DPS from your normal RPG. I like to say it's like, because you know your normal DPS is your average damage over X amount of time, where your total damage is calculated based on all these different things. This game bases it off your firearms skill and a few other things. You know, how that firearms skill adds to your base damage of the weapon. So keep that in mind when you want to put out high damage with these weapons. You know, you also got your stamina and electronics, which are used to unlock different talents in your gear and your weapons. This gun's specific talents are restored. You know, when I kill a target with this weapon, it removes all its negative status effects. And then it also has talented. Killing a target with this weapon increases my skill power by 6% for 11 seconds. And it doesn't stack, but it refreshes every time it ends. So that's nice. You know, on the attachments, you want to find mods and different things that you can use to improve your overall DPS and the advantages you'll have with the gun. I have a yellow magazine that does plus 100.5% magazine size. So I've got a 40 round clip, and you know it also does a 28.4% increase in my rate of fire. I have an optic that does plus 18% to my headshot damage and plus 6.5% to my crit hit. And I've got my muzzle, which improves my accuracy, reduces my threat, so I'm not always pulling the aggro. You know, and then you got your underbarrels that help your accuracy, and you know my hip fire accuracy for when I need to shoot from behind cover. And then you've got your skins that you can throw on that you can get from the post office. Now going back into here, you'll see that we just cleared this first area. We hit the restock box, and we're just kind of conversing about this next area we're about to go into. Great tactics to use for these dailies is, you know, you can 3-man them. It'll be a little difficult. It's always nice to get a good group of 4. It'll make it much simpler on you, and in the long run you'll be able to get through with minimal difficulty. You should always have a designated healer and maybe that one other person that kind of does the damage output support role that can also do a few heals. There is a specific skill power under talents in the medical tree called combat medic. You know, you use your med kit in your allies and you'll heal your group members within a 20-meter radius by 40%. So, you know, you heal yourself with that. By this point in the game, you're holding 5 med packs. So you pop one of those and you just healed your group when the medic can't. So that's really nice, especially if you're spread out. I also run, you know, evasive action. So when I'm dodging between cover, all incoming damage is reduced by 30%. And then I'll also run, my last talent is damage multiple hostile enemies with an explosive to apply 40% more damage from the blast. I do that because I run the sticky grenade. So I'm spec'd for that, my gear is. That's another thing that I'll be talking about in part 2. I'll get more into detail with that. Right here, you know, you'll see we have 2 guys in one area and me and another here. We've got running snipers and ARs, throwing our turrets, grenades. You want to take advantage of those grenades. You know, you've got fire grenades to throw at the mobs, and you've got your shock grenades that'll paralyze enemies from moving around that you can hit while they're stunned. So right here, I'm not very effective at long range. I have a decent sniper, but it's not the best. I'm more AR focused, in your face. I've got my stickies, my grenades, and my turret. Long range fights like this, sniper rifles do great damage against anything with shields, like elites. It's good at just taking chunks out of it. Turrets as well. The first mod you get for your turret will also hit them with the crit pulse ability that it has, and it does a little more damage. It has better range. The flamethrower has the best damage I found, though depending on your play style, it also has the shortest range and I believe health. So I run the first mod on the turret. It's good at suppressing enemies and just eating away at their shields. Here you see me throwing grenades and dodging between grenades thrown at me. It's kind of what you want to do. Always think tactically in this game. You know, this game's all about angles and using all these different abilities and skills. Never make it harder than it needs to be. You know, make sure you've always got enough ammo. Make sure you're stocked on your med packs, your grenades, and everything else. So, and then, you know, you've got your perks. If you haven't discovered your perks yet, you know, perks are your permanent unlocks. So once you unlock all your medical wing, tech wing, security wing, you've got all those permanently unlocked, which just increase your performance by a good chunk. Your survivability rate. Now here, we're just kind of finishing up the fight, and I might fast forward, it might not. Haven't decided yet, so you'll figure it out. As you know, when the elites group up like this, that's the best time to do grenades. Behind that police car, you'll see my turret going at it here. You know, it's targeting, it's pushing those enemies back. There's a sticky grenade. See, when I'm spec'd like that, it just ate at all their shields. Each piece of gear has their attributes, their minor attributes, and your skill attributes. Your skill attribute is where it's going to specifically target the skills you run. And, you know, myself, I run the sticky bomb damage because that's a great skill to run when you're in the dark zone, specifically, aside from when you have groups of these elites in the dungeons. You want to be a dick in the dark zone? You get a vantage point, shoot that sticky bomb right in the group as they're going to put their gear on an extra loadout, and bam, you've just killed about 4 or 5 guys, or severely damaged them. You know, if you get enough attribute points towards that, the blast radius increases, your damage output, everything. So, you know, you've got to really think tactically, like I mentioned before, with how you spec and how you do things in this game.
Additional hostiles incoming.
In dungeons like this, you know, there's going to be multiple waves on things. It'll get annoying at times. You might run low on ammo, but you might have to run back even as your buddies hold a position because you'll run low. So yeah, myself, my current DPS is 114,000. It's a little low, but I took that hit to bring my skill power up. You know, bringing that skill power up to about 19,000, close, almost breaking 20,000, allows my skills to charge faster, so I can use them more frequent. And then it also allows me to output damage, the health on the turret, and things like that. It's just everything has different effects. My health is low. You know, you really want to get your health to about a minimum of 60,000. That's going to give you a good buffer on any type of like encounter you might come across. The dark zone, you'll have that extra health. Dungeons, you'll have that extra health when you get mobs running at you and things like that. You notice how here, you know, we ran back to hit this restock box before getting in this next position. You know, and then the second part of this video, I'll get into a few more tactics of, you know, where you should post up for this dungeon, things like that. As you can tell, we took the high ground here throughout this part. I'd highly recommend that, as it prevents the enemies from rushing you. You keep advantage at all times, and the only thing you have to do is dodge a few grenades. So keep that in mind. Just, it's the little things like this. Now, we've officially broken through and are pushing into the tunnel aspect here. As you come in here, you're going to go through the tunnel. There's going to be 2 guys at the back end. And after you kill these 2 guys, there's going to be a restock box. But as soon as you kill these guys, there's going to be enemies behind you that are going to start rushing. And they're going to flood the tunnel. So you want to make sure you hit the restock box outside if you're not confident enough on your ammo and gear and everything else that you're going to hit the restock box in the tunnel. As you can see here, I got hit by that grenade just barely where it knocked me out. Alright, so you can see we're just going to fight these guys real quick, eat away at their shield. The FAL is nice too. It's got that couple round burst fire. It's decently accurate. Your sidearms are great. Always find a better sidearm when you can. You know, they have the shotgun sidearms, the sawed-offs. I don't highly recommend those. If you want to run a shotgun, run it as a secondary. You can find them outputting damage of like 50 to 60,000, and they're pump action. They hold more damage, or they hold more rounds. I mean, you know, and you don't want a double barrel. They have low ammo. They have 2 shots, and it's gonna inconvenience you and your team. You know, another thing I'll recommend with turrets, like you can see here, always pop your turret in an angle where the enemies won't get it, won't be able to shoot at it easily. Watch these guys that rush at you with the bats and the clubs and the golf clubs, you know what I mean? Just, they'll take huge hits of your health, and they'll inconvenience your team, and they'll take you out all alone without any support if they get a few of them in there and mess up your strategy. All it takes is one guy from your group to go down to get you all down. It can throw you off that bad. A good melee hit can stun them. You know, as your DPS goes up, your primary firearms and everything, your melee also goes up. The damage you output for that. And it might not seem like it, but it does. It's only because the enemies are also getting stronger that you don't realize that it does that. So here, you know, we're taking advantage of our snipers, and my turret is just eating away at this guy's shield. I got a buddy who just threw down his AoE ability for the heals that heals us, and if we go down, it picks us back up. That's a highly recommended ability to run in these dungeons, because if you get an ally who's in a hard to get area who got down, you're getting heavy fire, you can just throw that right to them. It'll pick them up, and you're all good to go again. So and here I go, you know, you can see my skill power. I can just keep pumping out this turret. And then we've got this other ability here. Your different links, you know, survivor link, tactical link, recovery link. Our designated healer runs the recovery link. We have one person that runs the tactical link, and then 2 of us run survivor link, because it gives you that damage resistance and, you know, your speed of moving around. You know, you get a 80% damage buff. That's huge for these groups that just run at you, and the heavy fire and the snipers and everything else. You know, so that's highly recommended to use. You know, and in the dark zone when you're being chased, you know, if you got a bunch of PKs coming at you, or rogues is what they're called in this game, you pop that, your group is buffed, you're going to take less damage, and you can run fast. You can get away, you can get to a more tactically sound area that will protect your group and ensure you hopefully survive and don't lose your gear. So this is coming to a close here on this video. Thank you guys for watching this. You know, it means a lot getting back into YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and look for part 2 where we finish out this dungeon daily mission. Means a lot. I'll have links to my other social media accounts in the description, as well as links to the accounts of my good buddies here. Check them out. A few of them stream and do things as well. As soon as you finish this area here in the tunnel, you know, make sure you hit this restock box.